Acute mastocytitis. Before starting this topic, let me give a small introduction about the structure of the ear. Ear can be divided into three parts: external ear, middle ear and inner ear. The normal function of the middle ear requires two things. One is it has got three small bones. The three small bones should be intact and should be well connected. Second one is the presence of air in the middle ear. Where does the air come from? The air, it comes from the nose to the normal breathing. So you have a small opening behind the nose. That part is called as the nasopharynx. From there, a tube which connects the nasopharynx and the middle part of the ear, the middle ear, is called the eustachian tube. This is this tube, which I'll show you in the next picture. This tube. It connects the part behind the nose, the nasopharynx, to the middle ear. This is the middle ear, where you have the eardrum. Now, the air capacity of the middle ear is just 1 cc approximately. So, just behind this middle ear, like how you see in this picture, there is a air cell system which stores approximately 5 to 8 cc of air. That air cell system is called mastoid air cells. So, let us see the normal functions of mastoid air cells. So, it is a reservoir of air. Next, whenever there is an imbalance in the pressure difference between the middle ear and the outer ear, so some amount of air can be taken from the mastoid air cell system to make the pressure equal. So, there are so many other functions too. I am not going into that because I am just telling you the main important functions alone, which is related to this topic. Now, the infection, the middle ear part, when it is infected, it is called as otitis media. From there, it can spread to any part. Otitis media is of two types. It can be acute or chronic, and complications are more so in acute. And when it spreads from the middle part to the posterior part and affects the posterior mastoid air cell system, it is called as mastoiditis. This mastoiditis can be of two types. It can be acute when the duration is less and chronic when the duration is more than 3 months. So, this present topic in this video clip, we are seeing and discussing only about the acute mastoiditis. Let us see the predisposing factors. Before that, I would like to tell you, so 30 to 40 years back, the complications from otitis media, acute otitis media, was very common because antibiotics was not used much. Now, with the introduction of antibiotic and antibiotic being used for each and every condition, the complication rate has come down. Even though the complication rate has come down, so even now, if you ask me which is the commonest complication of the otitis media condition, I will say it is acute mastoiditis. So, what are the predisposing factors? It's common in some conditions. It's common when the age is less. Second, it's common in low socioeconomic group, and when the virulence of the bacteria is more and resistance to the bacteria is there, and also in immunocompromised patients. So, let us see the pathology, how it starts and how did it reach the infection, how did it reach the mastoid air cells. To start with, the child will have an upper respiratory tract infection, and infection spreads from the nose through the eustachian tube to the middle ear, and the eustachian tube also gets blocked. When there is infection in the middle ear, it results in perforation of the middle ear, perforation of the tympanic membrane or the eardrum. Then in due course, because of the above mentioned, the reasons which I have already mentioned, the infection can spread from here to any parts. If it involves the mastoid, it is called as mastoiditis. This is the early stage. Now, if you see this air cell system, as the infection advances, this whole air cell system is destroyed and it becomes a single cavity. This is the later stage. So, early stage and later stage. Let us see what are the presentation, how does a child present, what are the complaints. So the complaints of the parents will be that the child had upper respiratory tract infection followed by ear pain, and he was having fever too. With ear pain, suddenly the ear starts discharging. So to start with, it will be blood stain followed by mucopurulent discharge. Once the ear discharge starts, the pain reduces, and the parents, they notice and they say that now they have noticed that this part, which is called the pinna, has displaced forwards and there is mild swelling. They feel there is a mild swelling behind the ear. These are the common complaints. So when you examine the child, as they say, there will be fever, the pinna is displaced forwards, and when you examine behind the ear, the behind the ear part is swollen up, and here you can see the discharge. And after cleaning the discharge, doing a nice suction cleaning, and when you put in a camera and see inside the eardrum can be seen perforated and pus coming out from the perforation. So these are the findings. So these are the findings for the early stage. As and when it advances, if the treatment is not given properly, or the virulence is more, or bacterial resistance is there, as the disease advances, what happens is the pus, which is confined to the mastoid air cell system, it breaks the outer bony wall and comes here laterally, but just below the skin. So the swelling behind the ear increases. So there is abscess formation. This is a later stage. Now, as you see in this picture, just behind the ear you have significant swelling. See the first picture, you have minimal swelling. The second one, you have marked swelling. Now coming to the investigations. The main diagnosis is with the help of a CT scan. Before that, we need to draw blood for normal hemogram as well as to know the renal function. Why this renal function test? Because when you do a CT scan, we need to do CT scan with contrast, with a special dye which can affect the kidney. So we have to know the renal status prior to that. So we have to do a normal blood count. Along with that, we do a renal function test also. We need to do a hearing test which can be postponed later on, let the child become normal. And we need to do a pus culture sensitivity. Since there is pus coming out, we will send it for culture sensitivity so that we can know which bacteria is involved and which specific antibiotic can be given for that. Now coming to the CT scan. CT scan with contrast of this particular part is the imaging of choice. Let us see the pictures of that. This is a picture of a normal CT scan which shows the normal mastoid air cell system, where inside you can see black areas. Black means it's air inside. If this black is replaced by white, it means there is infection. This is the early stage, this is the later stage. Early stage, the whole mastoid air cell system, you can see whitish, hypodense lesion. As and when the disease advances, it breaks through the outer mastoid wall, and the pus, as you can see here, well, it can be seen properly. Pus can be seen outside. This is the later stage. This is about the investigation. Now for the treatment part, kindly watch the part 2 video of acute mastoiditis. Thank you so much.